Jinwoo stood in front of the old mansion and smiled. After 10 years of working long hours and saving every bit of money he could, the house was finally his. The building looked ancient, with ivy crawling up the walls and broken windows on the third floor. Most people thought he was crazy for buying it. The place had been empty for more than 50 years, and everyone in the area whispered strange stories about it. But Jinwoo did not care about rumors. He saw something beautiful beneath all the dust and damage. The mansion had good bones, as his grandfather used to say. It just needed someone to care for it again. He pushed open the heavy front door. It made a long, creaking sound that echoed through the empty halls. Dust particles floated in the afternoon sunlight that came through the dirty windows. The wooden floor was covered in old leaves and debris. But Jinwoo could see the quality of the craftsmanship. Whoever built this place had done it with love and skill. That evening, after unpacking his basic supplies, Jinwoo decided to explore the entire house. He wanted to know every corner of his new home. He walked through the grand dining room, the library with empty bookshelves, and the kitchen that looked like it belonged in a museum. Everything was old but still standing strong. As he made his way down to the basement, his flashlight caught something strange. The wine cellar at the end of the basement looked normal enough, with empty racks for bottles along the walls, but something felt off. Jinwoo walked closer to the back wall and noticed the dust pattern was different there. It looked like the wall had been touched recently, even though nobody should have been in this house for decades. He pressed his hand against the wooden panels, and one of them gave way slightly. His heart started beating faster. Behind the false wall, there was a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. Jinwoo had to duck his head to fit through the opening. The stairs led to a hidden room that took his breath away. The space was filled with technology he had never seen before. Strange panels glowed with a soft blue light. Symbols that looked nothing like any language he knew covered the walls. In the center of the room stood a large pod made of some kind of crystal-clear material, and inside the pod was a girl. Jinwoo dropped his flashlight. It clattered on the floor, but he barely heard it. The girl looked young, maybe 19 or 20 years old, but she was not human. Her skin had a slight silver color to it, like moonlight on water. Her closed eyes were larger than normal, with long lashes. Strange markings ran along her arms, looking like delicate tattoos that seemed to glow very faintly. For several minutes, Jinwoo just stood there, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. This could not be real. But the pod was right there in front of him, solid and humming with a low vibration he could feel in his chest. He moved closer, drawn by curiosity and something else he could not name. The technology around the pod had various panels with symbols. Without thinking, Jinwoo reached out and touched one of them. It felt warm under his fingers. The pod suddenly hissed. White vapor poured out from the seams as it began to open. Jinwoo stepped back, his mind racing. What had he done? The girl's eyes opened. They were stunning. A deep violet color that seemed to hold entire galaxies. She looked at Jinwoo with confusion and fear. Her mouth moved, and sounds came out, but they were not words he could understand. The language was melodic, but completely foreign. She tried to sit up but immediately collapsed. Jinwoo caught her before she hit the floor. She was surprisingly light, and her skin felt cool to the touch. She looked up at him with those strange, beautiful eyes, and said something else in her language. This time, her voice was weak and full of panic. Despite his shock, Jinwoo's instincts took over. This girl, whatever she was, needed help. He could see she was weak and scared. He carefully lifted her in his arms and carried her up the stairs, through the basement, and into the main house. She did not fight him, though she kept speaking in her language, her voice getting softer and softer. He laid her down on the couch in the living room and grabbed his camping supplies. He had blankets, water, and some food. First, he wrapped her in the warmest blanket he had. Then he held a bottle of water to her lips. At first, she turned away, but when a drop touched her mouth, she immediately grabbed the bottle and drank deeply. Jinwoo sat back and watched her. Now that she was in better light, he could see more details. Those markings on her arms were definitely not tattoos. They pulsed very gently with a soft light. Her hair had a slight shimmer to it, like it was made of silk and starlight mixed together. After drinking, the girl looked at him again. This time, there was less fear in her eyes and more curiosity. She pointed to herself and said a word slowly. Lyra. Jinwoo understood. That was her name. He pointed to himself. Jinwoo. She repeated it carefully. Jinwoo. Her pronunciation was not perfect, but it was close enough. They sat in silence for a while, just looking at each other. Jinwoo had so many questions, but he did not know how to ask them. Lyra seemed to be thinking the same thing. She looked around the room with wide eyes, taking in everything from the old furniture to the windows showing the night sky. Finally, she stood up on shaky legs. Jinwoo moved to help her, but she held up a hand to show she wanted to try on her own. She walked to the window and looked out at the moon. Then she pointed at the moon and said something in her language. Her voice was sad, full of longing. She turned back to Jinwoo and started making gestures, trying to communicate. She pointed at the sky, then at herself, then made a motion like something falling. She was telling him a story with her hands, something about coming from the sky, about falling. Over the next few hours, through more gestures and simple drawings on paper Jinwoo provided, he started to understand. Lyra was not from Earth. She came from somewhere far away, among the stars. Her people had been running from something terrible. She had been put in that pod, in that hidden room, a long time ago. She should have woken up after 1 year, but something went wrong. She had been sleeping for much, much longer. As the first light of dawn came through the windows, Jinwoo made a decision. He did not know who Lyra really was or where she came from. He did not know what kind of danger might come from helping her, but he knew one thing for certain. He could not turn her away. She was alone, scared, and lost in a world that was not her own. He would help her, whatever it took. The first week with Lyra was both wonderful and difficult. Jinwoo knew he should probably tell someone about her, maybe the police or the government. But every time he thought about it, he imagined men in suits taking her away to some laboratory. They would study her like she was not a person but just an interesting specimen. He could not let that happen. Instead, he called his younger sister, Hana. She was studying languages at the university and had always been good at understanding people. When she arrived at the mansion, Jinwoo made her promise not to tell anyone before he showed her the hidden room and explained everything. Hana stood with her mouth open, staring at all the alien technology. Then she met Lyra, and her shock turned into pure fascination. Unlike Jinwoo, who was cautious and worried, Hana was excited and full of questions. "This is incredible," Hana whispered, her eyes moving from the glowing panels to Lyra, who was sitting quietly in the corner. "Do you understand how important this is? That is why we have to keep it secret," Jinwoo said firmly. "If anyone finds out, they will take her away." Hana nodded slowly. She walked over to Lyra and sat down beside her. "Hello," she said softly, pointing to herself. "Hana." Lyra smiled for the first time since waking up. "Hana," she repeated. From that day on, Hana visited every day after her classes. She brought books, pictures, and teaching materials. She was determined to help Lyra learn Korean. They started with simple words: water, food, house, sky, friend. Lyra learned quickly, much faster than any human could. Her mind seemed to absorb information like a sponge. Within 2 weeks, Lyra could speak basic Korean. Her accent was strange, and sometimes she mixed up words, but she could communicate. That was when she started telling them her story. "My home," she said one evening, pointing at the stars through the window. "Far away. Beautiful place. 2 moons. Cities that float in sky." "What happened?" Jinwoo asked gently. Lyra's face became sad. "Bad people came. Crawl Dominion. They wanted our world. Our resources. Our technology." She struggled to find the words. We tried to fight, but they were too strong. Too many. So you escaped, Hana said. My family put me in pod, said I would be safe, said to sleep for 1 year, then wake up on New World. Lyra touched the markings on her arms. They glowed a little brighter when she was emotional. But I sleep too long. Pod broke. I sleep for. She did not know how to say the number. 50 years, Jinwoo said quietly. The pod had a date. You have been asleep for 50 years. Lyra looked at him with such pain in her eyes that Jinwoo had to look away. 50 years. Everyone she knew was probably gone. Her entire world had been destroyed half a century ago. Hana reached over and took Lyra's hand. You are not alone anymore. You have us. As the weeks turned into months, Lyra became part of their small family. Jinwoo introduced her to his best friend Do-hyun, a doctor who worked at a private clinic. Do-hyun was shocked at first, but like the others, he quickly wanted to help. He examined Lyra carefully, making sure she was healthy after so long in stasis. Her biology is fascinating, he told Jinwoo privately. She is similar to humans in many ways, but there are differences. Her cells regenerate faster, her immune system is more advanced, and these markings on her skin are actually part of her nervous system. They help her sense things we cannot. What kind of things? Jinwoo asked. Emotions? Mostly. She can feel what people are feeling through some kind of bioelectric field. It is like a sixth sense. That explained a lot. Jinwoo had noticed that Lyra always seemed to know when he was worried or upset, even when he tried to hide it. The mansion slowly transformed. Jinwoo worked on renovating the upper floors, turning them into comfortable living spaces. Lyra helped him choose colors and designs. She loved Earth's flowers and plants, so they filled the house with them. She said they reminded her of her home world. At night, when Hana and Do-hyun were gone, Jinwoo and Lyra would sit together and talk. He taught her about Earth's history, its cultures, its music. She was amazed by how many different peoples lived on one planet. On her world, everyone had been united under one government. Earth sounds complicated, she said, but also beautiful. So many different ways to live. Going. Lyra told him about Valona, her home planet. She described the floating cities held up by ancient technology, the twin moons that lit up the night, the music that her people made using instruments that sang by themselves. She told him about her family. Her mother, who was a teacher. Her father, who designed ships. Her younger brother, who loved to paint. Do you think any of them survived? Jinwoo asked one night. Lyra was quiet for a long time. I do not know. The Crawl were everywhere. But some ships escaped. Maybe they are still out there, looking for safe places. Is that why you have been working on the communicator in the basement? She looked at him with surprise. You knew? I saw you going down there when you thought I was asleep. I did not want to stop you. If you can contact your people, you should. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. In the months since she had woken up, she had not cried once. But now, the tears fell freely. I do not know if anyone will answer. I do not even know if the communicator works. It is damaged. And is damaged. Jinwoo pulled her close, letting her rest her head on his shoulder. We will fix it. Do-hyun is smart with technology. We will figure it out. As they sat there together, Jinwoo realized something had changed between them. What started as a duty to help someone in need had become something deeper. He cared about Lyra not just as someone he was protecting, but as a person who had become important to him. He looked forward to seeing her every morning. He loved hearing her laugh when she discovered something new about Earth. He admired her strength and her kindness despite everything she had lost. He wondered if she felt the same way. Sometimes he caught her looking at him with an expression he could not quite read. Sometimes their hands would touch accidentally, and neither of them would pull away. But he was afraid to say anything. She had been through so much already. The last thing she needed was him confusing their friendship with his own growing feelings. One evening, Hana pulled him aside. You know she has feelings for you, right? Jinwoo felt his face get hot. What? No. She is just grateful that we are helping her. Hana rolled her eyes. My brother, you are smart about many things, but you are very dumb about this. I see the way she looks at you, and I see the way you look at her. Just talk to her. But before Jinwoo could figure out what to say or how to say it, everything changed. Hana brought news that made them all afraid. Government satellites had been scanning their area more than usual. Someone might have detected the energy coming from the Valonian technology in the basement. They had to be more careful. They had to keep Lyra hidden. And they had to figure out what to do if the government came looking. Winter came to the mansion, and with it, a strange kind of peace. Snow covered the grounds, making everything look clean and new. Lyra had never seen snow before, and the first time it fell, she stood at the window for hours, watching it with wonder in her eyes. On Valona, we had something like this, she told Jinwoo. But it was not cold. It was warm crystal dust that fell from the sky during festival season. Children would dance in it. Jinwoo bundled her up in his warmest coat and took her outside. They walked through the snow together, their breath making clouds in the cold air. Lyra bent down and touched the snow, letting it melt on her fingers. She laughed, and the sound made Jinwoo's heart feel full. Thank you, she said, looking up at him. For everything. For not being afraid of me. For giving me a home. You do not have to thank me, Jinwoo said. I wanted to help you. Why? She asked. You did not know me. I could have been dangerous. But you helped me anyway. Jinwoo thought about it. Because it was the right thing to do. You needed help. And I could give it. That is enough. Lyra stepped closer to him. You are a good person, Jinwoo. Your world is lucky to have people like you. They stood there in the falling snow, looking at each other. Jinwoo wanted to tell her how he felt, but the words stuck in his throat. Before he could say anything, Lyra shivered, and they had to go back inside. Life settled into a comfortable routine. Lyra helped Jinwoo with the renovation work. Her people had been excellent builders, and she knew things about structure and design that amazed him. Together, they transformed the old mansion into something beautiful. They fixed the broken windows, repaired the floors, and painted the walls in soft colors that made the house feel warm. Hana continued teaching Lyra about Earth. They studied history, art, and culture. Lyra was especially interested in music. She said that music was the universal language, something all intelligent beings seemed to create. Jinwoo bought her a small keyboard. And within weeks, she was making songs that sounded like nothing he had ever heard before. They were beautiful and sad, full of longing for a home she could never return to. Do-hyun worked with Lyra in the basement, trying to repair the damaged communicator. He brought tools and equipment from his clinic, things he said could help analyze the alien technology. Slowly, piece by piece, they made progress. The communicator started showing signs of life, its screens flickering with symbols that Lyra recognized. We are close, she told them one evening. Maybe one more week, and I can send a signal. What will you say? Hana asked. Lyra looked sad again. I will say that I am alive. That I am looking for other survivors. That if anyone from Valona is out there, they are not alone. That night, after everyone else had gone home, Jinwoo found Lyra on the roof of the mansion. She often went there to look at the stars. He climbed up and sat beside her. What are you thinking about? He asked. Home, she said. I miss it so much sometimes. The way the air smelled. The sound of the city at night. My family. She wiped her eyes. But I also think about here. About this place. About you. And Hana. And Do-hyun. You have given me something I thought I lost forever. What is that? Hope, she said. And family. Not the family I was born with, but a family I chose. A family that chose me. Jinwoo reached over and took her hand. This time, it felt natural. Not accidental. You will always have us, Lyra. No matter what happens. She squeezed his hand back. I need to tell you something. When I send the signal, there is a chance that the crawl might detect it too. They might come looking. Jinwoo felt his blood run cold. What? The crawl spent years hunting down every Valonian they could find. If they detect my signal, if they know I am here. She looked at him with fear in her eyes. I would have to leave. I would have to go far away from Earth so they do not find your world. We will deal with that if it happens, Jinwoo said firmly. But you are not going anywhere alone. Do you understand? Do you understand? Jinwoo, I cannot let you. I mean it, he interrupted. Whatever comes, we face it together. That is what family does. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she leaned her head against his shoulder. They sat like that for a while, looking up at the stars, each thinking about the future and what it might bring. The next week, everything changed. The communicator came to life with a burst of energy that made the entire basement hum. Lyra rushed to the controls, her fingers flying over the panels, symbols scrolled across the screens, messages in her language that Jinwoo could not read. What does it say? Hana asked, coming down the stairs with Do-hyun right behind her. Lyra's face went pale. Someone answered my signal. But it is not survivors from Valona. Her voice shook. It is the crawl. The room went silent. Jinwoo felt like someone had dumped ice water over his head. What do they say? Do-hyun asked. They confirm they have traced the signal, Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. They are sending a scout ship to investigate. To capture any remaining Valonians. She looked at them with terror in her eyes. They will be here in 6 weeks. Hana sat down hard on the stairs. 6 weeks. That is not much time. I have to leave, Lyra said immediately. I have to take the escape pod and go far from Earth. If I stay, they will find me here. They will learn about humanity. They might. She could not finish the sentence. No, Jinwoo said firmly. We are not letting you go alone. You do not understand, Lyra said desperately. The crawl are ruthless. They destroyed my entire world. If they find out that humans have been helping me, they might mark Earth as a target. I cannot let that happen. I will not be responsible for another world's destruction. Then we will find another way, Do-hyun said. We are not giving up. Over the next few days, they barely slept. They worked around the clock, trying to come up with a plan. Do-hyun studied the escape pod, trying to understand how it worked. He believed that with the right modifications, they could turn it into a proper spacecraft, something fast enough to outrun a crawl scout ship. Jinwoo contacted an old friend named Tae-young, who used to work as an aerospace engineer before he quit to run a small mechanic shop. Jinwoo could not tell him everything, but he told him enough. When Tae-young saw the Valonian technology, his skepticism turned to amazement. This is incredible, Tae-young said, walking around the pod. If we can understand even a fraction of this technology, it could change everything for humanity. Can you help us fix it? Jinwoo asked. I can try, Tae-young said. But I will need time. And parts. Lots of parts. They worked day and night. Lyra taught them everything she knew about Valonian engineering. Tae-young brought tools and materials from his shop. Do-hyun helped translate between human technology and alien concepts. Hana researched everything she could find about international laws regarding alien contact. What she found was not encouraging. Every government had protocols that involved detention and study. As the days passed, Jinwoo noticed that Lyra was becoming more withdrawn. She stopped sleeping. She barely ate. One night, he found her crying in the basement, her head in her hands. I brought this on you, she sobbed. All of you. You were safe before I came. Now you are in danger because of me. Jinwoo knelt beside her and gently lifted her chin so she was looking at him. Listen to me. You did not ask for any of this. Your world was destroyed. You were put in that pod to save your life. None of this is your fault. And helping you was our choice, he continued. My choice. I would make it again 1,000 times. Do you know why? 2. She shook her head, tears still rolling down her cheeks. Because I love you, Jinwoo said. The words came out before he could stop them, but he did not regret them. I love you, Lyra. Not because you are from another world or because you are special. I love you because of who you are. Your kindness, your strength, your hope, despite everything you have lost. Lyra stared at him in shock. Then, slowly, she smiled through her tears. I love you too. I have for a while now. I was just afraid to say it. Jinwoo pulled her close, and she wrapped her arms around him. 2 weeks remained until the crawl arrived. The mansion had become a workshop, with tools and equipment spread across every room. Taeyang had moved into one of the guest rooms, working nearly 18 hours a day on the escape pod. Do-hyun came every evening after his shift at the clinic. Even Hana, who had exams coming up, spent all her free time helping however she could. The escape pod was almost ready. Taeyang had managed to repair the main engines and upgrade the navigation system using a combination of Valonian technology and human engineering. It was not perfect, but it would fly. It would be fast enough to lead the crawl away from Earth. But there was a problem. Lyra had made a decision, and she had not told anyone about it yet. She waited until late one night when everyone else had gone to sleep. Then she went down to the basement and started preparing the pod for launch. She programmed it with a specific flight path, one that would take it far from Earth, in the opposite direction from where the crawl ship would arrive. She set up a decoy signal, one that would broadcast her life signs and make it seem like she was on the pod, but she would not be on it. She would be on Earth, in the mansion, waiting. When the crawl detected the pod and followed it, she would activate the pod's self-destruct sequence. The explosion would destroy any trace of Valonian technology and make the crawl think she had died trying to escape. It was the only way to protect Earth, the only way to protect the people she loved. She was preparing the final sequence when Jinwoo walked into the basement. He took one look at what she was doing and understood immediately. No, he said. Absolutely not. Lyra turned to face him. It is the only way. The only way? Jinwoo's voice was shaking with anger and fear. You are planning to sacrifice yourself. To let them think you died. That is not a solution, Lyra. That is suicide. The explosion will be far enough away that the crawl will not come to Earth to investigate, Lyra explained calmly. They will assume I died in the blast. Earth will be safe. You will be safe. And what about you? Jinwoo demanded. What happens to you? I will stay here, stay hidden. I can live in the basement, never go outside. The crawl will think I am dead, and they will leave. That is not living, Jinwoo said. That is hiding forever. That is prison. It is better than putting your entire world in danger, Lyra said, her voice breaking. I cannot let the crawl discover humanity because of me. I cannot let them hurt you. Jinwoo grabbed her shoulders gently. And I cannot let you throw your life away. We are going to find another solution. There is no other solution. Yes, there is. Jinwoo took a deep breath. We fight back. Lyra stared at him. What? We stop running. We stop hiding. We face them. Jinwoo let go of her and started pacing. Think about it. The crawl only win because everyone is afraid of them. But what if Earth was not afraid? What if we told them that you are under our protection? They would destroy your world, Lyra whispered. Maybe, Jinwoo said. Or maybe they would think twice about attacking a planet that stands up to them. Maybe they would realize that humanity is not weak. That is insane. Maybe, Jinwoo admitted. But it is better than your plan. And I am not going to let you die. Not without a fight. The next morning, Jinwoo called an emergency meeting. He told everyone about Lyra's plan and his own idea. At first, there was silence. Then Taeyang spoke up. It is crazy, but it might work. If we can show the crawl that Earth is united, that we are willing to defend Lyra, they might back down, or they might attack, Do-hyun said quietly. They might. Hana agreed. But we cannot just let Lyra sacrifice herself. That is not who we are. They spent the next 3 days planning. Hana used her university connections to reach out to professors, scientists, and researchers who might be interested in proof of alien life. She sent carefully worded emails, dropping hints about a major discovery. Do-hyun contacted journalist friends, telling them about a story that could change the world. Tae-young reached out to his old colleagues in the aerospace industry. Meanwhile, Jin-woo worked with Lyra to prepare a message. Not just for the crawl, but for Earth's governments and people. A message that would explain who Lyra was, what the crawl were, and what was coming. A message that would ask Earth to stand together. Are you sure about this? Lyra asked as they recorded the message. Once you send this, there is no going back. Your governments will know about me. They will want to take me away. Then we will deal with that, Jinwoo said. Together. On the day the crawl ship was supposed to arrive, they were ready. Jinwoo had uploaded Lyra's technology schematics to secure servers all over the world. If anything happened to them, the information would be automatically released. Hana had contacted every major news organization. Do-hyun had spread the word through medical and scientific communities. Tae-young had shared the technical data with aerospace engineers globally. When the crawl scout ship entered Earth's orbit, it sent out a standard intimidation message demanding that any Valonians surrender immediately. That was when Jinwoo activated his plan. From the basement of the old mansion, using the Valonian communicator, he broadcast a message that went out to the crawl ship and simultaneously to every major government on Earth and to news organizations around the world. The message showed Jinwoo standing next to Lyra. He spoke clearly and calmly. My name is Jinwoo. I am a human from Earth. The woman beside me is Lyra, a refugee from the world of Valona. She crashed on our planet 50 years ago and has been in stasis ever since. We recently discovered her and helped her recover. He paused, letting his words sink in. Around the world, people were watching. Governments were scrambling to respond. We know that the Crawl Dominion is looking for her. We know they destroyed her world and hunt her people. But we want to make something clear. Lyra is under Earth's protection now. She is not yours to take. On the Crawl scout ship, the commander watched this transmission with confusion and growing anger. Jinwoo continued. We have studied the technology Lyra brought with her. We have shared this information with scientists and engineers across our planet. Earth knows about you now, Crawl. We know what you did to Valona. We know you think you can intimidate us. But humanity does not abandon those who need help. We do not surrender our friends to bullies. Lyra stepped forward. I am Lyra of Valona. I survived when my world did not. I carry the knowledge of my people. And I have found something here on Earth that I never expected to find again. Hope, kindness, and people willing to fight for what is right. If you want to harm Earth because they helped me, then you will have to face the consequences. The transmission ended. Around the world, chaos erupted. Government officials argued about what to do. News channels debated whether the video was real. Scientists examined the technical data that had been released and confirmed it was far beyond human technology. And on the Crawl scout ship, the commander faced a difficult decision. This was supposed to be a simple mission. Locate and capture a Valonian refugee. But now, it had become complicated. Earth was primitive by Crawl standards, but they were not helpless. And more importantly, they were willing to stand up and fight. The commander sent a message back. This is unacceptable. The Valonian is Crawl property. Surrender her or face consequences. But before Jinwoo could respond, something happened that no one expected. On the communicator, new signals started appearing. Not from the Crawl ship. From somewhere else in space. Lyra's hands flew over the controls, her eyes wide. No, she whispered. It cannot be. 9. What is it? Jinwoo asked. Lyra looked at him, and for the first time in weeks, there was real hope in her eyes. It is them. My people. The survivors. They heard my signal. They have been searching for any other Valonians for years. Tears ran down her face. They are coming here. To Earth. How many? Taeyang asked. Lyra checked the data. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of survivors. She looked around at all of them. My people are alive. The crawl commander saw the same data. Suddenly, this was not a simple capture mission anymore. This was a potential battle against a Valonian refugee fleet, protected by a primitive but determined human planet. The mathematics did not favor him. The Valonian fleet emerged from hyperspace like a constellation coming to life. Hundreds of ships, each one different in design, bearing the marks of decades spent wandering the galaxy. They were not warships but refugee vessels, carrying the last survivors of a destroyed civilization. In the mansion's basement, Lyra was crying openly now. She spoke rapidly in her own language into the communicator, her voice full of emotion. After 50 years of believing she was alone, after thinking everyone she knew was dead, she was hearing voices she recognized, friends of her parents, teachers from her childhood, people she thought she would never see again. Jinwoo stood beside her, his hand on her shoulder. He could not understand the words, but he understood what this meant to her. She was not the last of her kind anymore. Hana was watching the news on her phone. The entire world is watching this, she said. Every channel, every country. They are showing the Valonian fleet on satellite imagery. Do-hyun was monitoring communications from various governments. They are confused. Some want to prepare weapons. Others want to try to communicate. Nobody knows what to do. We need to help them understand, Taeyang said. The Valonians are not invaders. They are refugees. Above Earth, the Crawl scout ship was calculating its options. The commander had expected to find one weak refugee and a primitive planet. Instead, he found an entire fleet of Valonians and a planet that was willing to fight for them. His ship was fast and well armed, but it was alone. The Valonian fleet outnumbered him significantly. And the humans, primitive as they were, clearly had access to Valonian technology now. The commander made his decision. He sent a final message. This is not over. The Crawl Dominion will remember this day. Then his ship turned and jumped back into hyperspace, fleeing before the Valonians could close in. In the basement, everyone cheered. The Crawl were gone. Earth was safe. The Valonians were safe. But the work was just beginning. The largest Valonian ship requested permission to send a shuttle to Earth, specifically to the coordinates where Lyra's signal was coming from. Jinwoo sent back confirmation. 2 hours later, a small craft landed in the field behind the mansion. Lyra ran out to meet it, Jinwoo following close behind. The shuttle door opened, and an elderly Valonian woman stepped out. She was small and thin, with silver hair and those same luminous eyes that Lyra had. The moment she saw Lyra, she gasped. "Child," the woman said in Valonian, and Lyra understood. "We thought all the children were lost." Lyra ran to her and embraced her. "Myra," she sobbed. "I thought everyone was dead." Myra held her tight, stroking her hair the way a grandmother would. "Many are gone." "Yes, but thousands survived. We have been searching, following every signal, every trace. We found each other slowly, over years and decades. We never stopped looking." She pulled back to look at Lyra's face. "You were so young when they put you in that pod. Look at you now, all grown." "These are my friends," Lyra said, switching to Korean and gesturing to Jinwoo and the others who had come outside. "They saved me. They protected me from the Crawl." Myra looked at the humans with curiosity and respect. She spoke in accented but understandable Korean. "We monitored the transmissions. We saw what you did. How you stood up to the Crawl for one refugee you barely knew." She bowed deeply. "The Valonian people owe you a debt that can never be fully repaid." "You do not owe us anything," Jinwoo said. "We did what anyone should do. We helped someone who needed it." Myra smiled. "Not everyone would do that. Trust me. We have met many species in our travels. Most turned us away. Some tried to exploit us. But you opened your doors. You risked your entire world for one person. She looked around at the old mansion, then up at the sky. This is a good world, filled with good people. Over the next few weeks, negotiations began. The Valonian fleet asked Earth for asylum. They did not want to invade or take over. They simply wanted a place where they could live in peace, where they could rebuild their society without fear of the Crawl finding them. The governments of Earth argued and debated. Some were afraid, others saw opportunity. But slowly, with help from people like Jinwoo, Hana, Do-hyun, and Taeyang, who shared their story through every media outlet that would listen, public opinion shifted. People began to see the Valonians not as invaders but as refugees, survivors of a terrible war who needed help. An agreement was reached. The Valonians would be given an island in the Pacific Ocean, far from major population centers. They would share their technology with humanity, but only technology that could be used for peaceful purposes. No weapons. No warships. In return, Earth would protect them and help them rebuild. It was not perfect. There were people on both sides who were suspicious and afraid. But it was a start. 6 months later, Jinwoo stood on the terrace of the mansion, watching the sunset. The house was completely renovated now, transformed from an abandoned ruin into a beautiful home. But it was more than just his home. It had become a meeting place, a symbol of what was possible when different people worked together. Lyra came out to join him, carrying 2 cups of tea. She handed him one and leaned against the railing beside him. Her markings glowed softly in the fading light. Myra sent a message, she said. The first buildings are complete on the island. They are calling it New Valona. She wants us to visit next week. We will go, Jinwoo said. I want to see what they have built. Lyra was quiet for a moment, then said, I still cannot believe this is real sometimes. That my people are alive. That Earth welcomed us. That you... She trailed off. That I what? Jinwoo asked, turning to look at her. That you loved me enough to risk everything, she said softly. Your safety. Your world. Your life. You barely knew me, but you chose to fight for me. Jinwoo set down his tea and took her hands. I would do it again, 1,000 times over. Lyra smiled, and it was the same smile that had made his heart skip the first time he saw it. I know. That is what makes you special. That is what makes humanity special. She placed her hand on her stomach. And that is why I am so happy about this. It took Jinwoo a moment to understand, then his eyes went wide. You are? Pregnant, Lyra confirmed, laughing at his expression. Do-hyun confirmed it yesterday. He said it should not be possible. That human and Valonian biology are too different, but apparently, life finds a way. Jinwoo felt like he might faint. Or cry. Or both. We are having a baby? Yes, Lyra said. The first human-Valonian hybrid. Do-hyun is very excited to monitor the pregnancy. He says it will be the most important medical case in history. Jinwoo pulled Lyra close, holding her tight. Our child, he whispered. A child of 2 worlds. Inside the mansion, Hana was giving a tour to a group of journalists. She had become the unofficial spokesperson for human-Valonian relations, using her language skills and her warm personality to help bridge the gap between the 2 species. She was working on writing a book about everything that had happened. Do-hyun was in the basement, working with Valonian doctors to combine human and Valonian medical knowledge. They had already made breakthroughs in treating diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. His research was saving lives on both planets. Taeyang was at the spaceport that had been built near New Valona, working with Valonian engineers to design hybrid spacecraft. The first ship combining human and Valonian technology was almost complete. He said it would be able to travel to Mars in just 3 days. And at the United Nations, representatives from Earth and Valona were signing formal treaties. Trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, plans for the future. What are you thinking about? Lyra asked, noticing Jinwoo's distant expression. About how strange life is, Jinwoo said. A year ago, I was just a lonely guy who bought an old mansion. Now I am going to be a father. My best friends are helping change the world. And my wife is from another planet. Technically, we are not married yet, Lyra pointed out. We have the Valonian bonding ceremony next month. We should have a human wedding too, Jinwoo said. So both our families can celebrate. 2 weddings? Lyra laughed. You just want an excuse to eat more cake. Maybe, Jinwoo admitted with a grin. But also, I want everyone to know that I am the luckiest man in the universe. As the sun set completely, the stars came out. Somewhere up there, the Kral Dominion still existed, still terrorizing other worlds. But here on Earth, something new was being built. An alliance, a friendship, a future where 2 species could live together and learn from each other. It would not be easy. There would be challenges ahead, disagreements, and difficulties. Some people on both sides would resist change. But there would also be hope, cooperation, and love. In a hidden room that was no longer hidden, where technology from across the stars still hummed softly, Myra had left a message recorded in both Valonian and Korean. It was being broadcast to both populations, a promise and a reminder. We lost our world, the message said. We lost our homes, our cities, our way of life. We wandered the galaxy for decades, afraid and alone. But we never lost hope, and that hope led us here, to Earth, to humanity. You could have turned us away. You could have feared us. Instead, you welcomed us. You fought for us. You showed us that kindness still exists in this universe. Together, we will build something better than what we lost. We will build a future where no one has to face destruction alone. We will build it together, human and Valonian, as one people, as one family. On the terrace, Jinwoo and Lyra watched the stars and thought about their child, about the world they would grow up in. A world that was bigger and stranger and more wonderful than anyone had imagined. What should we name them? Jinwoo asked. Lyra thought about it. Something that means hope in both our languages. Hope. Jinwoo repeated. I like that. Hope for the future. Hope for everyone. Lyra agreed. She leaned her head on his shoulder, and he wrapped his arm around her. Thank you, Jinwoo, for everything. For choosing love over fear. Always, Jinwoo said. Always. And in that moment, as 2 people from different worlds stood together under the same stars, the future felt bright with possibility.